So we just had Liz Norden on. Her two sons have lost legs in the Boston bombing. And we just learned the information a few days ago that came across this kid Tsarnaev. He's not a kid. I don't even know why I keep saying that. He's the younger brother who committed this horrible crime, this heinous act, this terrorist act of the Boston bombing. And now we learn that his death penalty conviction has been overturned. Now, the federal appeals court overturned it. Now, he'll spend the rest of his life in jail, but so what? This animal should not be alive. Why do we even have the death penalty? Why? Why do we even have the death penalty if we can't enforce it in a situation like this? It makes so sense. We want to hear from you at 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Sean. Sean is first on the Vegas Take. Sean, what's going on, man?
Hey, Sean.
Hey, the biggest problem with the death penalty is an animal like that and his brother can cause that kind of pain to so many people. And if they ever do get the death penalty, it's a little shot in the arm, and they lay there, and before they die, they go to sleep, and it's so peaceful. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree. Listen, if you had it, Sean, if you had it my way, stone them. Stone them.
Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay, so many people lost limbs. You stick his arm through some sort of a hole, and you have a controlled blast, and you blow one arm off. Then you put a leg through another hole where you can have a controlled blast, and you blow his leg off. And then you maybe pour some scalding hot water on him to blister the rest of his skin, and then let him lay there and die.
Well, you're not going to get an argument from me. That's never going to happen. I mean, you know what I hear about people who commit rape. I think I think you should get rid of some body parts as well. I mean, listen,
with a torch.
Listen, I don't disagree with you, but we all know, Sean. Let's be honest, that's never going to happen. At the very least, even if you're right, lethal injection is a peaceful way to go. You're right.
That's why criminals are not afraid of crime.
But Sean,
because you know what?
I agree.
They're basically getting set up to never have to work again.
I don't disagree with you, Sean.
Complain when they don't have cable TV.
I don't disagree with you. Listen,
get out because we might catch COVID in here.
Yeah, listen. Well, I don't want to let COVID get in the way of this conversation, but I will say this. I will say this though: there is no excuse for this kid not getting the death penalty. No excuse.
A violent death like you.
Yeah, and it's disgusting.
So many others.
It's disgusting, Sean. We agree. I appreciate the phone call. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Of course, we're talking about Tsarnaev overturned, not getting the death penalty. Let's go to Linda Lee is her name. Linda, thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Yes, I developed an opinion about the death penalty and harsh penalties, especially in America. A woman, because I was raped by a man, and it was very violent in a park, and of course they didn't find him. But I developed an opinion how important it was to continue the death penalty, but I totally believe in it, and without it, we really continue to have these terrible things going on, especially in America, but all around the world. There's different countries, like you said, that do different things, but he deserves it. I think they should have just done it right that day, and if they did it, they should have done it right in front of all those people.
Yeah,
It's not funny. I'm laughing, but it's bizarre.
Well, it's disgusting. I mean, why do we even have the death penalty if we can't enforce it? Right in this situation, Linda, it makes absolutely no sense to me. By the way, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And animals like that, like the man who raped you, listen, I think rape is one of the most heinous acts you can do. Well, it's horrible. And I call it the injustice system, right? I mean, we have people that are in jail for 20 plus years for drugs, and I'm not condoning it, but there are people in jail for nonviolent crimes that'll spend more time than, for example, the mother who killed her 1-year-old child because she was drunk driving, and she'll probably get 5 to 10. And then we have people in jail for 20 to 30 years for drug violations. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, Linda. And it just doesn't. And I'm so sorry that happened to you. Let me ask you this: you're saying the man who raped you was never caught, and he's out there on the loose?
I get a chance to say I've never ever had the chance to say that. I even tried to get the article and everything in the newspapers, and I won't tell you what they told me, but it was bizarre. It was in the late 70s, and I guess, it was the beginning or the end of the women's lib, and I'm 68 now, but...
I'm so sorry, Linda.
It wasn't that they even found the knife. The man had the knife on my throat. I don't know what happened. I swear the angels came down. I got the knife.
Thank God you made it through that, and I'm so sorry, Linda, but let me be very clear, Linda, in saying that the man who did that to you, I would just shoot him in the head. As far as I'm concerned, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Just like I am so sorry that the people who died in the Boston bombing and the 260 plus people that were injured due to these two dumb animal criminals, terrorists, whatever you want to call them. Why can't we give the death penalty to a terrorist? I mean, why do we even have the death penalty? It gets me so angry. 257-5396. Go to Patrick. Patrick is next on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Patrick?
Hey, what's up, Patrick?
Hey, guys. So this is really interesting and ironic because, Brian, you've pigeonholed me as a conservative on Facebook, and on this topic, I lean a little bit to the left. On the Tsarnaev guy, for sure, death penalty, I have no issue. The problem where I think it comes into play is that we've had how many number of people that were convicted of murder, and then they were overturned by. Okay,
but we have DNA. But we have DNA evidence now. I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, and he openly admitted to it as well. Him and his brother.
Yeah, and he admitted to it.
Let's say there's no DNA evidence.
But there is. Why would I do a hypothetical?
Well, no. What this does, it sets a poor precedent for the future. Obviously.
Don't get me wrong. DNA evidence helps, and maybe that's where it's okay to put somebody to the death penalty. But I'm talking about no DNA.
In this day and age, I think we lost Patrick. In this day and age, Patrick, we're not going to put anybody and give somebody the death penalty unless there's overwhelming evidence. Obviously, there is overwhelming evidence. Not only that, as JD just said, Tsarnaev admitted to the crime. So that's what we're talking about right now.
And his life is definitely effectively over. He's going to be in prison for the rest of his life, no matter what. But
a lot of people want the death penalty. I don't blame them.
And I agree with that as well. I think that under these circumstances, if anyone qualifies for the death penalty, it's most likely Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. And she makes a great point, Liz Norton, having to relive that again under those circumstances would be a serious case of PTSD for somebody in her position, whoever else was negatively affected as far as a family member died or someone lost their limbs because of what Dzhokhar Tsarnaev and his brother did.
As far as I'm concerned, you could stone that mother effer. 702-257-5396. Let's steal one more phone call before we go to break. Let's go to David. David, you are next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, David?
Good morning, guys. My personal experience with this is my son was murdered here in Las Vegas in 1997, and the Clark County DA's office said that it'd be much more difficult to get a jury to commit him guilty with a death penalty on the table versus life without parole, and that's what they went after, and that's what we won.
Well, I got to tell you, so you're telling me that and I'm so sorry that happened to your son. That's awful. So was the death penalty implemented?
No, they went after. He got life without parole.
How do you feel about that, David? You're the I'm so sorry I have to ask you this question. I wish this never happened to your son. It's horrible. But with that being said, how do you feel about the person who murdered your son? Would you have preferred the death penalty or life in prison?
Well, I'm hoping life in prison up in Ely for him has been much worse all these years later.
Yeah, I think the victims should be the ones that's my personal opinion. I don't want to judge deciding.
And there should definitely be some type of input from the victims and their families. I agree entirely on that.
Well, David, I'm so sorry that happened to your son. That's awful. My heart goes out to you and your family. That's just absolutely terrible.
I'm sorry about that as well, David. Thank you for the call.
I appreciate you calling in, David. Ooh.